A new exhibit at the Cabildo in New Orleans highlights works from famed Louisiana artist George Rodrigue. It opens alongside the debut of a documentary of the Blue Dog artist's life and art. Karen toured the exhibit alongside Rodrigue's son, Jacques, who shares memories of his father.
So here we are in the Cabildo, and I'm excited to show you Dad's exhibit, Rodrigue Before the Blue Dog. So it's a great chance to learn more about Dad's history as an artist, and this show really focuses on his early Cajun works, starting, of course, with the Louisiana oak tree. Dad grew up in New Iberia, but went to art school in Los Angeles. And when he came back from school in the late 1960s, he viewed the oak tree as the symbol of South Louisiana. And he was in LA when Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup can hit. And so he thought in those pop art principles of this oak tree as his Campbell Soup can.
The Cabildo Museum in New Orleans chronicles George Rodrigue's evolution as a world-renowned painter, exploring his signature style of depicting Louisiana landscapes and Cajun culture.
For Dad, when he walked and saw the swamps and the bayous, the sky was always underneath the oak tree, with the oak tree cut off at the top. And there was that glow behind the horizon line that he really wanted to capture.
And he purposely cut off the oak tree, right? You never see the full oak tree canopy.
Over time, Rodrigue's oak tree scenes included people, luminescent Acadians, in contrast to the dark, moody Louisiana landscapes.
In 1971, he had to come up with the idea of what would a person look like if they walked out from behind one of the oak trees, because he wanted to visually interpret his history on canvas. And so in paintings like this, you see these figures that glow white as if they're cut out and pasted on the landscape. They have the pride of their history and their culture and their food and their music all coming from within, even though they're under trees. And there's two lights in every Rodrigue painting, that light from within, but also the light beyond the horizon, which represented the hope of the Cajun people.
The 1984 World's Fair in New Orleans gets credit for introducing Louisiana's Cajun culture globally through Rodrigue's paintings and Chef Paul Prudhomme's cooking.
The two were best friends, and they did lots of exhibitions and cooking demonstrations together, and so we're so excited to have this painting here, which actually hung at Cape Halls for many, many years.
The exhibit also acknowledges Rodrigue's global success with the Blue Dog, showcasing his first painting of the icon, inspired by the family dog Tiffany.
It was painted for the World's Fair, which was in New Orleans in 1984, and there was a book of ghost stories in this book, and Dad illustrated the story of this loup-garou haunting this red house, and so he used an old picture of his dog Tiffany as the model and painted this piece. And you can see from the fur, from everything, it wasn't the pop art image that we knew of it today. He was painting this loup-garou as if it was one of his Cajuns. And so this is a really rare opportunity to come and see the first ever Blue Dog.
Jacques says Tiffany died before he was born, but you can learn more about the famous family dog in the documentary.
When he was painting Tiffany as, the loup-garou, it was kind of frightening to me because it looked so different from like her actual fur color. He painted the eyes like, intentionally to be frightening, and it worked on me.
As we were doing the film, everyone around the world seems to know Blue Dog. Not a lot of people are aware of the story before Blue Dog, or the vast talent that George has, even beyond what a lot of the public has seen. We got to go into the art troves and see behind the scenes and pull out art that no one's ever seen. There is a lot of thought and a lot of real existential ethos in his work that people aren't aware of.
Evangeline, the character in Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's famous poem of two Cajun lovers separated during the expulsion of Acadians, was one of Rodrigue's earliest muses.
We would come out here and take maybe 100 or 200 pictures, and I'd go to his house and he'd say, "Oh, look, I just painted you."
Another Rodrigue muse, Jolie Blanc, the character in a traditional Cajun waltz. The film introduces viewers to Rodrigue's original Jolie Blanc model.
Here's the Jolie Blonde model.
Oh, yeah.
She was, maybe 100 paintings of her.
So Wendy, we are sitting in front of your husband's painting Jolie Blonde, a favorite subject of his, and some say you were his real life Jolie Blonde. What do you say to that?
George's first painting of Jolie Blonde is from 1974. So this particular one, which is so lovely and romantic, is from 1982. But the first one that he made is his most famous from 1974. And he made her up in the middle of the night. He dreamed her up. And when we became us, which was in the early to mid 1990s, he said the most romantic thing to me. He said, "Wendy, in you, at last I have found my Jolie Blonde."
The exhibit paints a complete picture of George Rodrigue, the man in his art beyond his famed blue dog, and his palpable passion for Louisiana's Cajun roots and culture rendered on canvas.
That's what frustrates me the most, is that the dog is stronger than Rodrigue. Now, that is the wife in me, the person who loves him saying that, because ultimately, if I twist that and look at it a little different, the dog brings people to Rodrigue. So people know Rodrigue and come to know him because of the blue dog. And it is that doorway that brings him to beautiful works like you see here. So there's several ways to look at it.
To walk in here and see them jump out of the canvas at you, because it's not just a painting, you can see in their faces the expressions and the feeling of the people of that time. So I encourage everyone to come out and see this. This is a very special opportunity to see his early workings and what they meant to the community and the people he painted.